All right. All right, I just fired this up. We should be starting the webinar in 17 minutes. So if you're listening to this on the playback, on the recording, you can probably go ahead and skip ahead. And assuming everything goes really well, we'll probably start right on time. Yes, I've got all my monitors up here. Currently, as best I can tell, nobody else has hopped on other than myself. It says here I have 2 viewers, which I believe is the Dell and the iPad. I am broadcasting on the Toshiba, and this is the system that I use for my podcast, for the salesbabble.com podcast, along with just plugged in through my Behringer mixer. I have a PV microphone. I got a pop filter on that, and that's what I use for my sound. And although I don't have anybody on here yet, from what I can see, the recording looks good. The sound looks good on the Google Plus Hangout. This is Google Hangouts, actually called Google Hangouts on Air, and this is what we use to record the show and to broadcast it. It's perfect for a one-to-many situation. Oh, I just went down to 1 viewer. I wonder how that is. Oh, you know what? Let's bring this up over here. On my Dell. 1 second. Well, there we go. And now I see that I am that I'm on here. It looks like indeed I do have somebody else logged in right now. Who is that? If you look below, and what I'll do is what I could briefly do is share my desktop. Let's do that right here. If you look right down here below, you will see that look right down here below. You will see that there might be this little box thing here. It says, "Please start up be a part of this conversation." Just click the X and make that go away, because I want you to stay on this page, because below there is a chat tool, and in the next slide here, you can kind of see what the chat tool looks like. And that's where you can ask questions, and I will answer them. So if somebody is on right now, and I believe somebody is, and a few people are, could you please log in? Could you go under the chat wing tool and enter? Just say that you're here and who you are, and that would really be great, so I can get a sense that I'm not all alone here just talking to myself, just with the voices in my head. We got 13 minutes to go, folks. 13 minutes to go. Oh, it's gone down. Was it 4? Now it's at 3. Guess they didn't like what I was saying. So again, welcome to everybody who is starting to amble into the webinar. If you look on the page below you, there is a little box called Chat Wing. It is a chat box. If you could enter your name in there and say hello, that would be lovely. Hey, Mike, I see you. Welcome. Hello, Amy. How are you today? All right. Did you just click on the link? Yeah. Did you click the? Did you click on the? There's a little. If you click on my face, I believe there's an arrow on there, and it should just work. Yep. If you click right on top of my nose, there's a red square with a pointing arrow. It. Yes, it's working right now. I hear myself, right? It worked. So why don't you type hello on the bottom of chat box there? You see there where it says there? It'll ask you to pick a name. It'll give you like a guest name, or you can type your own name in and then say hello. Does that sound good? It says chatwing.com/Pat Helmers. It's the little blue box below. Scroll down. Scroll down. Yeah, do you see where it says Chatwing below it? Mm-hmm. No, no. Right below the picture of me. Scroll down. Or go back to the web page that I was at that you originally started. To the web page that I was originally on, that you clicked the red arrow. You're on the Google Hangouts page. Yeah, that's where you're at. Can you go back to the web page that you originally clicked on? Webinar training, www.salesbabble.com/webinar training. Right. Yep. Is it in motion? Yeah, click on that one. Click on that one. Do not click on that. Do not click on that. Just, yeah. Yep, say hello there. Mm-hmm. So why don't you, okay, do you have two of them going on right now? Did you get rid of that other page that you were on originally? Yeah, I don't know what they're all called. I think you're good to go now. Okay. All right. Good luck. Bye-bye. Hello, guest 372. Looks like we're slowly filling this up. I see 4 viewers. Hi, Amy. Glad to see you. Got 6 minutes until the top of the hour. So maybe I could ask this question of you all while we're waiting: is what's the one thing that you're looking to hope to learn? Well, you may have more than one thing, but commonly I like to ask either one thing or three things. Why did you make the decision to spend some time here on this webinar? What are you hoping to gain? What benefit are you looking to pull into your own profession? Stay right here. Yeah, don't click that button below it. There's the enroll button. Just leave that there for now. There's no need for you to touch that. The next thing that what I want you to do is just kind of stay right here on this on the www.salesbabble.com/webinar training page, and that's where the Google Hangout is on there, and then the chat wing is boxes below that. Yep, someone here said they were having problems getting their speakers to work. The best way to do that is to, there is a configuration thing. If you look at the very top of your page, there's a settings. If you click on that settings, there's some configurations where you can talk about what your default speakers are. Sometimes these are the kinds of things that I hear people commonly say. They use external speakers and they have those plugged in commonly when they're using their computer. However, today they don't have it plugged in and they have the wrong ones turned on. So go to the settings button. It looks like a gear at the very top. It's on the right. And if you click down on there, you should be able to hear. In fact, somebody texted me, and I'm going to say that right now. Check gear at the top. Of the Google Hangouts page. You're probably wondering, why did I choose Google Hangouts? And there's multiple reasons for that. The first is that this is actually going to be recorded for anybody who couldn't make it today. And the next thing is that I like that. But the other thing that I like about it is that it works on all kinds of platforms. I don't know if any of you are on a mobile device, an iPad, a tablet, an iPhone. It works all on that. The other thing that's interesting about that is that it should be pretty simple on the user end. You just got to click a link. There's no downloading. I've used a number of other webinar softwares, systems, and they commonly have something you got to download, and that's always a real pain in. And the last thing, one thing that's really powerful about it is Google. And Google has a lot of capabilities that comes with that, and SEO capabilities. Somebody had asked, how do they chat with me? At the bottom on the www.salesbabble.com/webinar training page, if you scroll down, there's a chat box called Chat Wing, and you can ask your questions in there, and I can answer them. I'm looking right now, and I don't see any questions on there. I don't see anybody. This is where you ask questions. Oh, looks like I'm missing a verb there, but you get the part. I said this where you ask questions. It's more demanding, I guess. And but I think you get the idea here. And that's where you would go. There is about a 40-second delay from the time that I speak and the time that you hear it, because of this the way Google Hangouts on Air. That's actually the tool that we're using. The way it records it. So if you ask me a question, it may be a while before you hear it. Neil Christian just asked me, he wanted to know what color the sky is. It is, it's kind of gray. I did want to bring that up. I am in about 55 miles west of the Chicago Loop right now. It is a balmy 58 degrees Fahrenheit. About 90% of the leaves are gone up here in the northern Midwest of the United States. I don't know if anybody's abroad today. For the most part, winter is here, and we have 5 months of this ahead of us, if not. Guest 322 is welcoming to the webinar, and they're very happy to be here. Guest 322, I really like your name. That sounds great. Oh, look, Mr. Bacon is here. Mr. Basilico. We've got 13 viewers on here, and we've got 2 more minutes to go before we get started. We're going to let some more people saunter in, and I do want to be respectful of your time, so we'll get right to it. Here's another one. Ellie is here. Ellie from Oklahoma City. She's made it. She's figured it out. And she seems quite happy about this. Lots of exclamation marks in her message. 322 is check to see if they're logged in, and they still are. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Apperly is here. Apperly, it's so very nice to see you. She is calling. She is she's logging in from the fine nation of Canada. Oh, Canada. I'm so glad to see you here today. I think we've done fine. I think what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you all, is to get started and to, as I say on this, and to do a little bit of babbling, as you all know that I like to do. Let's do a share. Let's do a slide share here. We'll put that puppy right on there. We'll click the share button and get right to it, as I like to say. This is where you're going to do the chatting. We've already been talking about this. And this is where you see this here. Let's think a little bit about Dilbert wondering what he was saying. Sales training, don't act like you're selling something, he says. A good sale is like a good wedgie. Your victim shouldn't see it coming. And for this next demonstration, I need a volunteer who can't see what's coming. Today, folks, you're the volunteer. We're going to talk about selling with confidence, how to develop your skills and make sales. And yes, indeed, I am Pat Helmers. I want to make a promise right off the get-go that we're going to learn 3 primary topics. The first is, what are the 3 skills of successful sellers? And the benefit of this is you're going to know where you can focus your selling skills and how to apply them to make sales. Next, we're going to learn the 6 stages of sales. And the benefit of that is you're going to know what to do, when to do it, and how to influence prospects to buy. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the one mindset that you already have, and you probably already have it in your life. You probably apply it in different places, but we're going to learn how you can apply it to sales. And at the end, there's going to be an offer so we can learn a deeper set of selling skills so you can be prepared for that. Who is this for? It's for business owners and entrepreneurs and engineers and skilled experts and new sellers and seasoned. Really, my niche audience has been people who are in sales but really don't think of themselves as sales professionals. They know they need to learn more about sales, but they're not necessarily very comfortable with it. But I've been surprised the last couple of weeks. I've had a number of seasoned professionals who've been reaching out who've enjoyed what we've been doing on the Sales Babble podcast and have been expressed interest in learning about this too. I am very excited to have you all here today. This has been This is really kind of you to take a little bit of your day out to spend with me. I deeply appreciate it. So, are you ready to go? Are you comfortable? Have you turned off your phone? Have you shut down all the tabs on your browser? Have you closed your office door, locked the dog away? Do I have your full and undivided attention? Because we have an awful lot of material to go here, and we're going to go pretty fast. And I want to make sure that you can fully embrace, you can fully understand what we're trying to share here. You ready? Set? Let's go. Let me tell you a little bit about me, so you wonder what the point of me is that I was actually a techie back in the day. I have a couple degrees in computer science. I actually have a couple patents right there. I always thought, I used to watch Star Trek when I was a kid, and I always thought of myself, I'm going to be those guys who are like pushing buttons and running technology. And that's kind of what I did for many, many years, for a couple decades, actually. I started out being a software developer, but eventually I started teaching software development, and that's what's on the top left there. Some books that I wrote and I taught for quite a while. And as a manager, I actually started a training organization called Training Academy, and we ran, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people through that. I've probably taught thousands of people in training and whatnot like that in that regard there. But then, as time happened, I was actually laid off from that company. I was from Lucent, and I decided to reinvent myself, and I became a sales professional, and I was not very good at it at first. Prospecting back in my day when I started was these spiral notebooks that had names in them, and I highlighted it, and I was fumbling on these cold calls. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was not very good about following up here. I actually dug out some of my early notes. This is my my CRM system, keeping track of who I called and whatnot. And you can see it crossed off in little hash marks. I was pretty sloppy and pretty naive. And I remember I had one of my very first deals I had this lady, and I didn't have a lot of leads. I was lead poor. And I kept calling her saying, you gotta buy. And eventually she's like, stop calling me. It was very frustrating. And I was panicked whether I can make a go at this or not. But I did, actually. And I became pretty good at sales. And I eventually became a sales manager, actually the vice president of sales. And I did a lot of trade shows. And here's some of the folks I used to work with, used to work for me. And that has gone, that went extremely well. Sold millions of dollars worth of software, actually, we were selling it. And over time, it was millions and millions of dollars worth of software, and we grew every year. And I became a guest speaker, and I've spoken at a number of different events, and that has worked out really, really great. And I guess it was earlier this year I decided that I really wanted to start teaching sales, and that's how Sales Babble came about. I've had some people have worked with me, and I've trained them, and like Rich Bauer from RBAC said, since taking this class, I feel more confident on what to say. I was unsure when selling. Now I have the words. Neil Christensen from Email Split said, Pat's passionate about sales. I've worked with him on improving my sales approach. He's given me many great suggestions to implement, but most importantly, he has given me the confidence in my ability to help clients make a buying decision. And then lastly, I've got this from Stephen Hawk from Hawk Design. He said, before meeting Pat, I was mediocre at sales. He taught me how to saddle up and put sales into action. And since working with him, I have greater confidence and have doubled my sales. So that was very, very kind of him. So with enough about me, let's get right to this. Let me ask you this question. How do you think society perceives sales? What do you think people think? Is it a thumbs up? Is it a thumbs down? What's the first word that comes to mind when you think of sales? SellisHuman.com, this is Daniel Pink's group. They actually did a study on this, and this is what they found. People think of sales, they think it's pushy, it's difficult, it's sleazy, it's yucky, it's hard. These are the kind of words that people immediately come to. Now, you can see there's also necessary, and there is challenging. What is not so bad. Necessary, but when the majority of the thought that comes with sales is so negative, you can't help but but wonder, why would anybody want to go into this? How do you perceive sales? So let's, on a scale of 1 to 10, where, with 1 being awful and 10 being phenomenal, where would you put yourself? Many people would put themselves at a very low number. This is the classic used car sales lot. And this is what comes to people's mind many times when they think of sales. Back in those days, the seller held all the cards. They knew exactly what cars cost. They knew what their margins were. You as a buyer knew very, very, very little. That you were, for the most part, in the dark. But I have a thesis that this is no longer the case. In fact, I believe that is a myth, that that the sellers are in the dark. Because of the internet and as it has become an integral part of our society, we are in a case of information asymmetry. The seller no longer holds all the cards. People spend an immense amount of time going online, looking and understanding what they can buy, looking at all the different options, all the different colors. In fact, it's almost too much information for people, information overload. The buyers now have a hold of all the cards. Sales too, what's this different is, although that is different, let's talk about sales. It's almost everywhere. And in fact, 1 in 9 people are in sales. And by, I mean in sales, I mean people who are in outside sales or inside sales or telemarketing or or in telesales. You know, they do retail, hardcore sales. 1 in 9 people in the professions are in the sale. And this has been constant for over the last 30 years. This is not something that's going to get outsourced. Who are the kinds of people in sales? 50% of all business graduates eventually get in sales. 75% of all marketing majors get in sales. It begs the question, why can't we get bachelor's degrees in sales? Because that's where they're all going into. And people who commonly start in sales earn salaries 25% higher than in other fields. I wanted to dig into this myself, and some of you may be following me on there, but on Twitter, I have a number of followers, and I actually did a study asking them, what % of your day do you spend persuading, influencing, or convincing others? And I got 100 people actually to respond, and then I quit. And the questions I asked them was, do you think it's under 10%, around 30%, around 50%, or greater than 75%? And this is my findings. 21% said it was less than 10%. Sorry about that. A quarter of them said it was around a third of their day. And 32% said it was half of their day. And almost a quarter said it was the majority, more than 3/4 of their day. That means 79% of the people out there are spending a third or more of their time doing sales, and what I'm talking about, influencing, convincing people, trying to persuade them one thing or another. I believe we're all in sales. And though it may not be your title, you are a sales professional. And this goes back way for a long, long time. This here is the Silk Road, and trade has been going on for 20,000 years, from ancient Sumeria all the way to ancient China. The whole idea that I'll trade you an X for a Y, and we somehow agree on that trade. But sometimes this agreement's is not clear. Is this a good deal or not? This is where sales comes in. There's no sales, there's no revenue. If there's no revenue, there's no business. And even though it is the foundation of business, it's a barrier for many. For example, in that Twitter survey that I did, remember that? I asked, where are you challenged in sales? And this one fella said, I don't know how best to inform and influence someone to buy something I'm offering while not coming across as pushy or all about money. This was a struggle for him. I had another lady said, I'm a middle-aged English woman who has practiced law for 20 years. Asking people to buy from me is as alien as singing opera or going to the space station. I have no script, and I have no idea what to do. No, unfortunately, she never left her email. I have no idea who she is. I would love to help this poor lady out. She just, but I think she expresses a feeling many people have about that. Ellie says here in the questions, she just left me a little note here that says, don't most people have a BS degree? As in, oh, not working here. Oh, looks like her quick question stopped here. Anyway, so let's get back on track here. Procrastination, problems, challenges. These are the kinds of things. These are the words that come in people's minds when they think of sales. I know I should be doing more, but they always find an excuse not to do it. And they know they should need to grow more business, and they have a passion about the thing that they're about, the technology or the arts or the services they provide. It's just that prospecting and acquiring new clients is just so difficult. But sales is actually a repeatable process. It's a formula, it's a mindset, and you can do it. Back when I was vice president of software sales, when I was hiring people, I was looking for master sellers. And so it begs a question in my mind, what was the characteristics of great sellers? Back in the day, I was looking for people. This is what I would tell people when they were hiring. I would say, I'm looking for people who are nice, tenacious, and technical. But I believe, and that was an interesting, but nice, tenacious, and technical. And by tenacious, I mean somewhat like competitive or not that. And that kind of worked for the park that for the place that I was in. But I'm much more in the mindset of the ABCs now. And this again comes from Dan Pink's book, To Sell as Human, a wonderful book, by the way, if you ever get a chance to read it. And his ABCs was attunement, buoyancy, and clarity. Attunement is, how in tune are you with others? Such as, can you read their body language? Can you pick up their social cues? Can you listen well? Really listen to what they're saying? Can you connect emotionally with the people? And can you get comfortable with strangers? That is attunement. The next thing is buoyancy. How do you perceive rejection? You bounce right back when something happens? Do you not take it too personal? Do you see it just as this is just business? Do you have an expectation that you can't win them all? That's buoyancy. And the third one is clarity. How well do you explain data? Are you great at not only just solving problems, but finding problems and explaining that in a clear manner? Do you think rationally? Do you explain logically? Do you not get overtly bogged down by details, but are able to focus on the highlights that really matter to the seller? Focus on what's important. Again, that's attunement, buoyancy, and clarity. It's not about being an extrovert. It's not about being a backslapper. These are the things that really matter when it comes to sales. Now that we know what the 3 skills that great master sellers have, let's talk about the process. 6 steps to the sales in my mind. I think of them as qualify, magnify, pose, close, seal, deal, and then seal. I did not order. Deal, and then seal, as in seal in the deal. Qualify, magnify, pose, close, deal, and seal. Each step is a stage, and it's truly a process, and you can't easily skip these steps. In fact, if you do, this is where sales go awry. And this is why something I commonly hear from people who are uncomfortable with sales is, I don't know what to do. I get confused. I don't really understand what the order is. The first thing we need to do is think about our avatar or your ideal client. It is the face of your market niche. Who are these people? Do you really understand who they are and how you can help them? The best way is to skip guessing. What to do is define your market niche and ask them these kinds of questions. Sir or ma'am, what are your frustrations and fears? What keeps you up late at night with worry? What's the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning? What's it take to be successful in your business? If you had a magic wand, what would you do with it? And where do you see yourself in 5 years? And sometimes when you meet with these people, sometimes the best question is, why did you agree to meet? And you ask these questions and you let them just talk and share and you listen. This is where we qualify them. What's going on here is we're demonstrating attunement. We're learning to see if their problems are things that you can solve. It shows empathy, and you build credibility by listening, which may seem paradoxical. Instead of you just telling them a bunch of stuff like how smart you are and how great your products are, actually listening builds more credibility. Once we understand what their problems are, we need to magnify them in their mindset so that they feel compelled to take action. Their pain or desire, is it a pain or a desire that they have? And by a pain, I mean it's something that hurts them. So is it an aspirin that they're looking for, or is it a vitamin they're looking for? And people are usually more motivated to move quickly on the left side, on the aspirin side. The way we do this is we need to ask some questions. And there's 4 types of questions. And I'm taking this from Neil Rackham's book, Spin Selling. Again, this is a really, really great book if you have a chance to ever read this. And I'll be more than happy to share with you all the books that I believe in. But anyway, is what's known as a situation question. How would you describe your current situation? Like, how many of these do you have? And how long you've been in business? And how many customers do you have? Even poor, weak salespeople know to ask these kinds of questions. And that's commonly all where they go. These are not powerful questions, but they get you started. The more powerful question is, in sellers who ask problem questions are far more successful in closing sales. What kind of problems are you experiencing right now? Well, that's a good question. They might say, we're struggling with staffing for territory growth. Or they might say, our time delivery of products is terrible. Or our supplier keeps sending us defective parts. Or some of our clients are never, ever happy, as no matter how hard we try. And we have 8 one-star reviews on Yelp. Oh my goodness. And my employees, they're disgruntled and unhappy, and they're all talking about quitting. These are very real things that your prospective clients could very well be facing. When people give you these issues, make a list. You have a piece of paper and you write them all down. Trick here is the mindset in my mind is to think like a researcher. Ask these great questions, and then when they give you answers, just say, well, what else? What else? What else? And you'll be amazed at the information they'll give you. And you just keep building your list. Further magnify it, we move on to a different set of types of questions called implication questions. Oh, that's a terrible problem you have. How does that impact your business? Oh, don't get me started. No one is selling in my territories. My revenues remain flat and I can't get momentum. Complaints keep rising. The phones keep ringing. My bad reviews on social media, people are not coming into my restaurant anymore. They're not coming to my store. They're not buying my stuff. Because what you've done is you've taken their problem and you've asked them, how did it impact their business? And that hurts them. Ouch. Now we need to throw them a line. We need to throw them afloat so they don't ground. If that problem, and that's called a needs payoff question. If that problem could be solved today, how could it benefit your company? Picture the possibility where every territory was fully staffed. Revenue targets were met. Happy customer experiences, exemplary reviews on social media, lots of return business and referral business, and my costs are plummeting and my margins are rising and there's world peace. Well, man, I don't know about that, but you kind of get the idea. You've created a possibility in your mind that all of these problems, if they went away, think what it would do to your business. What you're trying to do here is generate a take action attitude to go from frustration to hope. Now that we got them all worked up, you want to pose a possible solution. You want to find features that benefit your customers. And what this is doing is demonstrating attunement and clarity. Walk through the list and check off what you can and show how you can do it. Boy, I like to look at this is Wilson's. I don't know if anybody's ever been there. This is in Door County, Wisconsin, in the village of Ephraim. And if you go to Wilson's, you can step up to them and say, this is what I would like. I would like a double dip cone with butter pecan and Rocky Road. And I want it on one of those waffle cones, and I want it dipped in chocolate. I want those little pastel sprinkly things on top of that. And inside, in at the very bottom of the cone, I want a jelly bean. And then what they would do is they will tell you is like, why, yes, I think we can do that. We have this and we have this and we have this. I can build this. Does this work good for you, Pat? Oh, that would be great. Thank you. That's how I like to see this. Now, sometimes you can't. Sometimes your McDonald's, you don't have every choice. But what you want to do is you just want to check them off one by one. You want to walk through their list and say, you know what? I think I can help you. Let me look in my bag here and see what I've got to help. Now we're ready for the close. So we've had all these kinds of conversations where you've let them do a lot of talking. You've asked them lots of questions. You've got them all worked up. You magnified other issues. And now you're saying, here's a possibility. I might be able to give you what you want. This is the way you ask the question. From what you've seen so far, do you think this will work for you? The answer is yes. Woohoo! You made a sale. If they say no, well, what you just say, you just go on and you go, well, why do you say that? And you go right back to step one and start asking them questions again and adding them to the list and going through the whole process all over again. This, when they say no, and they often will say no the first time, this is where buoyancy is a must. You don't take this personal. You're just like, in fact, you almost expect it. Oh, okay. Well, let's go back and see, well, what it would not cover. How come you don't think this is a good match? And you keep walking over and you keep walking through that over and over and over. Eventually, they may say yes, and that's where it comes to where we need to make a deal here. And you want to get their purchase order. But lots of times, this happens an awful lot. They'll groan and they'll beg poverty, and they'll go, "Oh, I really can't afford it. Pat, this looks great what you have, but I really can't afford it." So what I like to use, the metaphor I like to use, is this whole idea of the snap, snap, snap. So let's picture this possibility. Let's say you've got $1 in your pocket, and you pull. And what I say is, give me $1. If you pay me $1, I will snap my fingers twice. Click, click. And magically, $2 will show up in your pocket. You got that? Snap, and $2 show up in your pocket. So what a great deal this is, right? These magic fingers that I have, that you give me $1, I snap my fingers, $2 show up in your pocket. If that was the case, if that was true, if that really did work, you would want to play that game all day long because you're making big time money on this. This is the same mindset that you have when you're in sales. For every $1 you give me, you make $2. Now, that may not be the exact ratio. It may be something different, but that's the general model that's in your head. All products and services that people buy have to have some kind of value. Profit is everything. So the best way to like get this across to them is to have this ROI question. Well, what's your average sale? How much more could you sell if you had my services or products? Let's calculate your ROI and see if this is a good deal. And if it is a good deal, they'll buy. And people do like to buy, but they don't like to be sold. So what we've been talking about this entire time is trying to get them to sell themselves by using their words. You ask them lots of questions, they use their words, and they themselves kind of explain how the things that you have will actually work for them, will actually solve their problems. What this is demonstrating is attunement and clarity. I briefly mentioned this before. This whole thing is a matchmaking process. It's like dating. It's got to be a good deal for them, and it's got to be a good deal for you. And when the two are aligned, that's really great symmetry. That's when you really have you're starting a powerful connection with your clients. Not everyone's a match, at least not at any one time, but maybe there'll be a match someday. Again, buoyancy is key here. Oh, yeah. Just repeating myself here. She said. Step 6, and this is one that sellers commonly forget. This is where we really need to seal the deal. And by that, I mean we want to upserve and overserve your clients. Great clients are repeat clients, and great clients provide great references and great referrals too. Bad news travels very, very fast in the land of social media. That's you want to nip this stuff at the bud as best as possible. If you want to get great references, that's very powerful, because many people, this isn't true of everybody, but many people don't want to be the first one to buy. If they see great references, they'll go, oh, this seems like a safe thing for me to do. And referrals are really powerful too. And this is something many sellers fall down on, is they fail to ask the question of, do you know anyone else who is shopping? So, in review, what are the 3 things that make for great sales professionals? Do you remember? Attunement, buoyancy, and clarity. What are the 6 stages of sales? Qualify, see if they're a fit for you, magnify their problems so they want to take action, pose a solution, close them by asking them, do you think my solution matches? If they say yes, get the purchase order, get the check, and then seal the deal. Make sure that they are extremely happy clients and will come back for more someday. If there is one thing you take away from this, from this whole deal, and I hope you've seen this overriding through the entire process, is that if you have the attitude, how can I help? This will take you far. And if there's anything you've gotten away from this today, I hope that you can immediately apply today and tomorrow, is if you take the attitude of how can I help when it comes to your prospective clients, you will be so much more successful. You help people all the time now. You help your family and your friends and your next door neighbors. You don't think twice on that. But many people don't see that in the context of their clients. If you just have the attitude, how can I help? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but no matter how you cut it, you're going to start building quality connections with these people. You're going to build a level of trust that will pay off dividends in the long run. Let's keep doing that. So, I got a yes or no question now. Do you believe, from what you've heard right now, that you have enough information to apply all of what I've been talking to in business to either tomorrow to increase your sales? Yes or no? Do you think you've learned something here today that you can apply that will help you in sales? So I hope you're saying yes. Now, if I was to give you a step-by-step process with worksheets and checklists and handouts, Do you think you could follow it to increase your business sales, to kind of bootstrap this and kickstart this? And I would hope that maybe you would say, well, yes. Some fast, easy way to implement and to get immediate results in sales. Well, you can probably see where this is going. I have a new class that it's actually a mastery class called Selling with Confidence that I'm going to be kicking off this fall. And it's a webinar based class. It will start on next week on Tuesday, November 11th, and it'll go for 6 weeks. Again, it's at noon standard time, and it's a 1-hour commitment. It's got weekly homework, and it's going to be in a mastermind format in that people will be able to meet with one another and chat with one another, and you'll have really great access to me, and I can answer any and all your questions that you have. These are the 6 weeks that are going to be covered. It's about how to understand your ideal client and telephone your prospects. And why don't we walk through those one by one? First week will be how to understand your ideal clients. And what the benefit that is, if you know how your avatar, how your ideal client thinks, what makes them tick, it makes it very much easier for you to laser focus on their needs and provide solutions. Next thing is we're going to talk about how to telephone prospects so that you're totally confident when you pick up the phone and start dialing. This is something a lot of people struggle with. And the one thing that's most important here is the only goal that you're really trying to make is to get an appointment. And we talk about that, how to get that appointment. Next, we're going to talk about how to engage in rich conversation. And that's all about asking really great questions, creating a deep understanding of your customers' needs, create a desire in them to buy solutions, and to try to get them to help sell themselves. And there's a lot of things that there's a lot of tricks and I don't know, really kind of like strategies on how to approach that with clients. And then on the 4th week, we talk what I call try to connect. And it's how you use cold calling and voicemailing, emailing all together collectively to kind of approach prospective clients on multiple fronts, and how to use powerful writing to solicit interest, and again, to get an appointment. Next, on week 5, we're going to talk about powerful presentations that persuade, how to pose solutions that speak directly to the client's needs, how to build an atmosphere of trust and clients. And actually, if you do this well, again, clients will close themselves on this. And lastly, we're going to talk about how you close that deal, how to get yourself organized so that nothing gets lost. You know, that there's a very powerful notion in sales called follow up. It's very easy to get discombobulated and forget to do that. Most sellers only follow up a couple times, when in reality it takes 8 times to follow up with people and to actually get them to agree to purchase. This is a no risk course. I have a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. I only want happy clients. I'm really here to take care of you. If you were to hire me for 6 hours of coaching on this, it would cost you $1,200 at $200 an hour for a 600 class. That's way too much for many people. So instead, what I've decided to do to price this for the webinar value is going to be $197. Because it's a first-time webinar. This is the first. I've been teaching this stuff for quite a while. These are things that I've known a long time, but this is the first time I've entered. And because of that, I'm only going to charge $197. And I really want a large enrollment of people to come in, so that's why we're going to do $197. But to really kind of bootstrap this, to get people to take action and to invest now, because that's really important for me, that people, prove themselves and sign up quickly, I'm going to charge $97 for the next 36 hours. So that means till noon midnight Central Time, Thursday night. And then from then it goes up to $197, and that'll be until the November 7th. And then we'll close it down, and that'll be it. So the way you enroll is if you go to www.salesbabble.com/enroll now, You can enroll for this course. Again, it's only $97 for the next 36 hours. And I would highly recommend that you do that right now. In fact, if you are on the webinar training page right now, if you scroll all the way down the bottom, you will see a button called Enroll Now. And if you click on that puppy, that should work. And then it'll take you to a Buy Now page. First, you got to fill out your name and fill it. So I'm looking here too. Let's take a look at the questions. I've been kind of avoiding them. Let's take a look and see if there's any are there any questions so far? Does anybody have right here? Go back here. It says here, some people are really interested in becoming better at want to be better at closing on people. We will talk about that at great length on how to close people. The real trick to closing is to get them to express that indeed the solution that you have is a perfect fit for them. How do you do that? Because you've been asking them what their desires are and what their needs are and things like that. That really helps a lot in them just kind of sell themselves. In fact, it's kind of interesting. If you do your presentation just right, they will start connecting the dots themselves. And what's really awesome is when they start selling you on you. I've seen this happen many times. And some sellers will then want to like chirp right in. The best thing to do is just to be quiet and let them talk. What other questions do we have here? Someone here is interested in prospecting, and we do talk about that. I'm a big fan on, we'll chat some about this on the power of using LinkedIn for prospecting, especially in the B2B space. There are a number of things that work in that regard. There's been a conversation about how hard is it to get into doors and they keep shutting on your face. You know, again, I think the possibility here is to, if you hit people on multiple fronts, it's much more easy for you to make connections with them. If let's say you're connecting with them on LinkedIn and you've reached out to them and said, oh, I'm interested in, do I have something maybe I could do to help you, and share with them free things. That helps a lot. And then if you call them and they're not there and you leave a powerful voicemail that says something more about you, like a little radio commercial, that's very, very helpful. And if you send them an email that says, here's something I have that you might find value. If you can provide value with people and kind of warm them up, you would be surprised how it's easier than you think to get into their offices. I used to do an awful lot of drop-bys, and by drop-bys, that means I would just cold walk in and I would just say, hey, I just got some literature. I was stopping by. I just thought I'd hand this out. Here's my card. You know, I know you're busy. And you'd be surprised, like 1 out of 3 times it would say, well, why don't you tell me what you got going on? And you can fill your whole day up with that and bring up a conversation. And all you're looking to do is to get an appointment. That's all you're looking to do. Here, Mano has a question here about, he was interested in finding more about how to organize your sales funnel. And we do talk about the sales funnel. That's actually in the last part of the class, where we talk about how you slowly manage the people. The 6 stages that I talked about earlier those actually are the sales funnel. You may be thinking, let me talk about return on investment. Remember we talked about every time you gave me $1, I would snap my fingers and you would make $2. So let me answer this question. Let's go back and answer the question in the context of the Selling with Confidence mastery course. How many more deals could you win if you took this class? Ask yourself. And given the cost of this $97 and your average deal size, what is the return on investment on that? And for fun, I just kind of did some, I literally just pulled these out of the air. Let's just say you make a commission, or you get some kind of, for every deal that you sell, you make $500 on there. And if we were to somehow through taking this class, get 20 new leads a week at a 20% close rate, you would get 4 new deals out of this. Because of the skills that you learn, you would benefit from those skills. That you would get a profit of $2,000 for those 4 new deals. So for an investment in $97, let's just do a quick look at the math here. That's like a 2,000% return on investment. Now, you're maybe less than that. Maybe it's only half of that. Well, that'd be 1,000%, or maybe it's only a quarter. That'd be 500. I mean, this is still a significant. For $97 is not a lot of money for what you could potentially have, and that's really the mindset I want you to think about. Is like, how many more sales do you think you could close from getting trained in sales? And I would take care of you and hold your hand through this whole thing. Again, invest today. Go to www.salesbabble.com/enroll now. Fill in your name, click the button, then you'll go to the buy page, and then it takes you to a PayPal page, and you click on there. Target audience, again, is for non-sellers, entrepreneurs, small business owners, artisans, technologists, skilled trade professionals, engineers, consultants, copywriter, and people uncomfortable with sales. And surprisingly, people who have been in sales for a long time, but want to reinvestigate the fundamentals. I had a great conversation the other day with a fella, and we were talking about sometimes, like in sports, you have to go back to the fundamentals. I love to golf. The golf grip is really important. It's something that you can lose over time, even though you've been doing it for a long time. I play piano. The placement of your fingers on the keys, it's important that they home properly, and that every so often people need to go back to the fundamentals and reinvestigate there and start anew. This is not for class. This class is not for people who don't believe in return on investment, or people who don't want to spend money to make money. It's not for people who want to invest in themselves, who think they can wing it themselves, or they can figure it all out themselves. People who don't want to take action, because I don't want you to take the class and not actually do the homework and not find the benefits that comes from that. If you want to continue to do what you've always been doing, you're welcome to do that. This class is not for you. Again, it's called Selling with Confidence. It's a mastery course. You go to the www.salesbabble.com/enroll now, and it's only $97 from now till midnight tomorrow. That enroll button at the bottom of the page, and that will take you to a buy button. And oh yeah, forgot about this. And that's not all. And it's not steak knives. There's also going to be a private Facebook group that you can be a part of, so that people can chat amongst themselves, and we'll be sharing information amongst themselves. There's going to be recordings of all these classes made. They will be archived. You'll have access to them for the rest of your life, so you can listen to them over and over and over again. Plus, as I mentioned, there's going to be a bunch of handouts. There's a bunch of checklists. There's a bunch of fill in the blank assignments. There's a bunch of matrices we're going to fill out. You're going to walk away with a fistful of information about your business like you've never had before. You're really going to dissect who your ideal clients are, build an avatar for them, and build scripts. That's a big part of what's going to kind of scripts. You're going to know exactly what to say when you call them on the telephone. So Ellie says here, door shutting is also employing buoyancy. At first you don't succeed, you try again. Yeah, that is literally true. That is, after a while, once you realize that it's just business, that there's an exercise I like to think of, is like, you have no idea what's going on in their life when you call them up out of the blue. You don't know what's falling apart. You don't know who else is in the room. You don't know what email you're breaking in on. Once you kind of realize that and have empathy for the position that these people are at, it's pretty powerful to be able to deal with the buoyancy, to deal with the rejection that comes from them. Realize, right now is not a good time. When would be a better time? The only thing you're trying to do is to get an appointment. Unskilled, or I should say newbie kinds of salespeople, try to do too much. Once they get in front of them, the first thing they want to do is try to show them everything they have, with the hopes that if I just do a big dump of information on them, that they'll just obviously see that this is the right answer for them. Wrong. That's the wrong tact. The right tact is to try to get them to realize that, hi, I was just in the area, I was stopping by, or hi, I've been calling companies just like yours. I've been working with some other companies. We've had some really great successes with them. I'd like to share them with you. I believe they may find value for you. Do you have a moment next week, say Friday at 10 o'clock, where we can meet? It's, things like that. And people are much more open to that. Oh, Stephen says it looks like it's a great class. Oh, thank you, Stephen. Are there any other questions here? I'm not in really much of a rush. We're about 52 minutes into it, and we've got another 10 minutes. I'm more than happy to stay here. Again, this is the course. Understanding your ideal client, starting the sale, try to connect. This is where we take cold calling and voicemail and emails. There's a way of doing this where you go back and forth through the three of them, and to slowly build on them in a non-pushy way, to get them to get people to agree to meet with you. How questions can engage rich conversation. We do a lot of things. We ask a lot of great questions that solicit them to really think. We talk about that, and we do lots of examples of that. What do I got here? We talk about powerful presentations that persuade. How do you run a meeting? How do you work with people of different stakeholders? They all have different points of view. Some of them are decision makers and some aren't. How do you deal with people who aren't decision makers, who talk a lot? How do you get the decision makers to talk, so you know whether or not you're actually getting anywhere? How do you balance all this? What are the stories? I'm big on this. We talk about this. What are the stories that you tell people when you explain your solutions? Just giving them a list of features, it can do this and it can do that, is not very powerful. But if you can speak in terms of, well, here's one that I like to be used, I've been using lately, is you probably heard that Apple has a new iPhone out, right? And lots of people say it's got this 4.7-inch screen, and in these other phones, these Samsungs, and they all have these big screens too, and they talk about how big inches and how many pixels are on there and things like that. But that's all features. What people really want to know is, what's the benefit of having the bigger screen? Now, I admit I'm an old guy here, and my eyesight's not as great as it used to be. And the powerful of a big screen is I can read it without having to put reading glasses on. That's the real benefit of these screens. If you're speaking to your clients in the context of the benefits, how it's going to make my life easier, that's much more powerful than how many inches the screen is. Everything that you potentially sell, your products and your services, they all have features. The trick is to understand the pains and the desires, the hopes and the frustrations that these clients have, and see what benefits you can provide them, and speak in the context of those benefits. Pat says, give us an example of a great voicemail to motivate prospects so you can call them back. I kind of just did one a second ago. It could be something along the lines like, hi, Ellie, this is Pat Helmers from Sales Babble. I'm calling in, let's see. Hi, Ellie, this is Pat Helmers from Sales Babble. I'm calling in regards to some work that I've been doing with other companies in regards to sales training, and they've had 500% increase in sales because of the work that I've done with them. I would love to share so some of their successes with you. Do you have a moment on Friday at 10 o'clock to meet? It'll only take 20 minutes. Again, my name is Pat Helmers. I'm at 630-768-3134. That's Pat Helmers at 630-768-3134. 3134. Thank you. I don't know. How did that sound for doing it off the top of my head? I'm a strong believer when it comes to these scripts. You write them out and you practice them and you wordsmith them. You make them sure they're correct. You write them out. You read it 10 times when you're first starting. You stand up, smile, because smiling makes a big difference, and then you dial. That is huge to do that when you're leaving these voicemails. There's a guy I like, Tony Parinello. He wrote a book called Selling to Veto, and he's got this whole thing he calls cascading voicemails, where you slowly, I don't know what he calls them, but I call them cascading voicemails, where you slowly share a little more about you through one email after another, and after it's almost like little radio commercials for these people, and that's pretty darn powerful for them. Is there any other questions that you have? I hope you've taken a moment here to go to www.salesbabble.com/enroll now and indeed enroll in my class. I would love to have you join us this day, this week, this month, and we're going to start off again next Tuesday. Let's find the right screen for that. Find the right screen for that. It's going to be next Tuesday, November 11th at noon. You can't make these times. That's okay, because all going to be recorded, and you can watch it at your convenience, at your leisure. And because it's not going to work for everybody, I don't know if this is a great time for everybody or not, but one thing I have been coached is, like, you just pick a time. And I like this one because it works around the lunchtime of both Eastern, Central, and just a little earlier for the West Coast. In England, I don't know if we got anybody in the UK here today, because we've had a lot of people of interest in the UK, particularly, but it would be about 6 o'clock in the evening for them, or 5. I think it's actually 5 o'clock in the evening now that the time has changed. Are there any other questions? I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. I think maybe it's time for me to move along here and let you guys go. Again, here, go to salesbabble.com/enroll now and enroll in Selling with Confidence Mastery course. I'm going to stay here for a while. I'll answer any questions that you have. If you want to give me a call, you can. Let me pull this up here. Don't do that. Don't do that. These technologies are like. There it is. Questions, 630-768-3134. That goes directly to my cell phone, which is in my hand. And I have been getting some texts, but they have nothing to do with this. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you spending an hour with me. I hope you have hope you've learned a few things here about sales, about attunement, buoyancy, and clarity, the 6 stages of sales, qualify, magnify, pose, close, deal, and seal, and the one mindset. This is probably the most important thing that I want you all to learn, is that if you take the mindset of, how can I help you? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to take care of you. How can I help you? You will become a very, very powerful sales professional seller. So with that said, thank you all very much. Take care. And I will just sit here and wait for any other questions on the chat wing box. Bye-bye. Take care. That was fun, wasn't it? Where do we go?